Ah, I'm here with the story. This is Max. He lived in a little house with his mom and dad, and he always did his best to help them around the house. One day, Max was getting dressed for school, and as he reached into his sock drawer, something hard poked him in the finger. So he pulled out his socks and looked inside, and in the bottom of his sock drawer, there was a tiny elephant. He was no bigger than a cookie. Max couldn't believe his eyes. He had never seen such a small elephant before. And the little elephant looked very scared. "Don't worry," said Max. "I won't hurt you." Max knew that if he took the elephant to school, his friends would be so jealous. They'd want an elephant, too. So instead, Max put the elephant in his pocket and headed off to school. At lunchtime, all of Max's friends wanted to see the elephant. "Wow, it's so cute," they all said. Then they asked Max if the elephant could play with them at recess. "Of course," said Max, and he named the elephant Toko Toko. Toko loved to slide down the monkey bars just like the Ari kids, and when it was time to go home, he fit perfectly in Max's backpack. All day long, Max and Toko had fun together. When Max and his parents made dinner, Toko sat at the kitchen table in his high chair. He loved to watch them cook, and sometimes he even helped. When Max's mom stirred spaghetti sauce, Toko would stir the sauce in his little bowl. And when Max's dad chopped vegetables, Toko would chop vegetables in his little bowl, too. He was really good at helping. After dinner, Max brushed Toko's tusks and washed his trunk. Then he tucked him in bed. "You're so cute," said Max. "I love having an elephant for a pet." The next morning, Max put Toko in his pocket and headed off to school again. At lunchtime, all of his friends wanted to play with Toko. "Can he come over after school?" they asked. "Of course," said Max. And when Toko played with the other kids, he started to grow bigger. By the time he went back home, he was as big as a loaf of bread. Max didn't mind. He still had lots of room in his pocket. Every day at school, Toko got bigger and bigger, and when he went back home each night, he was as big as a basketball. One day, Toko was so big, he couldn't fit in Max's pocket anymore. So Max carried him to school in a wheelbarrow. All the kids at school wanted to know how Toko was getting so big. "He eats lots of peanut butter," said Max. That's because Toko was a little elephant with a big appetite. Then one day, Toko was so big, he wouldn't fit in Max's wheelbarrow. "What am I gonna do?" he asked. Max's dad came to the rescue. He made a wooden box with wheels and handles. It looked like a little doggy stroller, and that's how Max brought Toko to school. But soon, Toko was so big, he wouldn't fit in the wooden box. And when Max tried to carry him in his arms, Toko was as heavy as a bag of potatoes. "I can't do this anymore," said Max. "I wish I could take you to school, but you're way too heavy." Toko was sad, too. He didn't want to be too big. He liked going to school with Max, but he couldn't stop growing. Every time he sneezed, he grew a little bit bigger, and every time he ate peanut butter, he grew a little bit bigger. So Max's mom had an idea. She told him to get a big blanket and cover Toko with peanut butter. "If you cover your whole body with peanut butter, it will take longer for you to eat it all, and then you worry and grow so fast." Max spread peanut butter all over the blanket. He covered Toko from his ears to his tail. And when Toko tried to lick the peanut butter off the blanket, it took him a long time to finish. So Toko didn't grow as big as fast. But one day, Max forgot to bring the peanut butter blanket to school. As soon as Toko got to school, he started growing again. Before long, he was as big as a refrigerator. "I can't keep carrying you to school in my arms," said Max. "You're way too heavy." Toko felt bad. He didn't want to be a burden to Max. So he decided to walk to school by himself. He was very proud that he could walk. Even though he was as big as a refrigerator, he walked slowly so he wouldn't run into anyone. When he got to school, all the kids were so surprised. "Look, it's a real elephant," they shouted. Then they all ran away. Toko was sad. He wanted to play with the other kids, but they were afraid of him. Just then, Max came running. Toko, why aren't you in my arms? And why are you at school? Why aren't you at home? I wanted to come to school by myself, said Toko. Max understood how Toko felt. He knew that his elephant friend just wanted to be like everyone else, so he had an idea. Max went to the principal's office and told her about Toko. Do you think you could make a rule that all the kids have to be nice to Toko? She asked. Of course, said the principal. We want our school to be a happy place for everyone. And from that day on, all the kids at school were super nice to Toko. They invited him to play with them at recess, and during lunchtime, they shared their food with him. But Toko still grew bigger, and one day he was so big, he couldn't fit inside the school. He was as big as a house. I'm sorry, Toko, said Max. You're too big for me to take care of you. You need to live somewhere else. Toko was sad. He didn't want to leave Max. He didn't want to live anywhere else. But Max promised to visit him every Sunday, and he promised to bring peanut butter sandwiches. So Toko knew he would be okay. Max took Toko to the zoo, and the zookeeper was so happy to have a new elephant. I'll take good care of him, she promised. And she gave Toko a big enclosure to live in. He could roam freely and splash around in his pool. Every Sunday, Max brought Toko peanut butter sandwiches, and they played together. Even though Toko was a big elephant, Max was still his favorite person. And they both knew that no matter how big or how small, friendship was the most important thing. The end.